Morning, brothers and sisters. Brother John here. I've been doing a little studying in Matthew 24 and verse 20, and I thought I'd share what I found with you. So, let me begin. So it says in verse 20, it says, "But pray ye that your flight be not in the winter, neither on the Sabbath day." Now, let's take it like this. If your flight's not in the winter, in other words, pray that your flight be not in the winter, and if it's not in the winter, that means you exclude the winter. But what happens is, it won't be in the winter, but which season falls before winter and after winter? Only two seasons. One season would be fall, and that would be before winter, and the after season, of course, would be spring. Now, excuse me. That said, the fall season goes until the 21st of December, but starts in September. So that's autumn. Autumn starts in September and ends just on the day of winter, which is the 21st of December. Now, the interesting part of this is the fall feast is what Jesus would fulfill. He fulfilled the first four spring feasts already, and now he will fulfill the last three feasts. Now, everything in the media is pointing to the 23rd, and they're giving us impression that something's going to happen. The media is pointing to it. The corporate body of Christianity is pointing to something happening. Jonathan Kahn is saying there's going to be a possible fall of the financial system. We know the New World Order is attempting to rise. The stock market is showing indication that this is going to happen. So the interesting part of this particular verse is the bottom part where it says, it says, "But pray ye that your flight be not in the winter, neither on the Sabbath day." Now, I have a sister in Arkansas who I talked to, and she showed me this, and it's just very interesting because that Sabbath day is not necessarily the Sabbath day, as in the seventh day. Every seventh day is the Sabbath, but it's also known as there's a Sabbath year, or a year of rest, okay, and that would be the Shemitah, which, if you know anything about what's going on now, we're in the 49th Shemitah. So every 7 years there's a Shemitah, but when it gets to the 7 times 7, the 49th year, which is the 7th Shemitah, then there's a period of time between Rosh Hashanah where that Shemitah ends, which it always ends on Rosh Hashanah because that's the head of the year, all right, the new year. And between Rosh Hashanah and Atonement are 10 days. Now, I've said in my other videos that those 10 days are the ones that are pointed out to in Revelation 2:10. Revelation 2:10 says, "Fear none of the things that the devil shall do to you. He'll throw some of you in prison, and you shall have tribulation 10 days. So those 10 days goes right along with Matthew 24:29, where it says immediately after the tribulation of those days. That's what I believe. Just my view. But watch this, because it says, "Be not let your flight be not in the winter, nor on the Sabbath day." So the Sabbath day, there's two Sabbath days, or should I say years, the two Sabbath years, that one ends, okay, this 49th Sabbath, which is your Shemitah at the 49th, and then there's 10 days, and then you begin the Jubilee. All right, the Jubilee is a super Shemitah, and it's also a Sabbath. It's a Sabbath year. There's 2 years there that are basically years of let fall and rest, and it's a time of watch. Okay, it's a watch period. Interesting how I just said that, because that's the next portion of chapter 24. When you get over into 44, into verse 44, "If the good man in the house, therefore be ready," and all that. Okay, and watch, because when you don't watch, that's when it comes in an hour when you expect it not to happen. Okay, so we should all be expecting something to happen, which isn't too far of a stretch. Okay, you've got most of the corporate body pointing to this time. Now, so what we have is the 49th year is what we're in. We're in the last Shemitah, okay, of the 49th year. So when does that Shemitah end? It ends the 13th of September on Elul 29. And that's according to Jonathan Kahn, points out that for 40 years now, there has been a crash every 7 years. So the crash is an obvious thing, but what's not so obvious is that there's 10 days between the time of the start of the crash, all right, or whatever happens on Rosh Hashanah. Okay, nothing may happen, but it could. This is what he says. So when we look at it that way, there's 10 days between the time of Rosh Hashanah and Atonement, and there always have been and there always will be. So 1 year it will happen where those 10 days are fulfilled in Revelation 2:10. But it's very possible, and more as the days head towards September, and as we watch the things and the events of the world, this is going down. I believe this is it. Okay, I won't soften the thought. I will give it to you like this. This is it. And I said it before that this is it. And ultimately, I am a man, and I could be wrong. I'm not God. Just like Jonathan Kahn says, we see things happening, but God's ways are different than man. But with all the things that have happened in just recent times, and the alignment of all of the things that are happening in September, with the Pope coming and addressing Congress and Agenda 2030 and you name it, this is it. For us to not see it as this is it would be woefully silly. So the understanding is that there's those 10 days between the two Sabbaths. So pray that your flight be not on the Sabbath. Either one. Okay? It's not going to be on the Shemitah, and it's not going to be in the Jubilee. Do you get that? But there's 10 days. There's 10 days between the Shemitah and the Jubilee. This ending of the Shemitah and the beginning of the Jubilee. So that right there should give you enough. And I should have identified how that worked in that particular verse, at least in my thoughts. But it's pretty obvious, because there is 10 days, and there you go. It's self-explanatory. So the other part that I'll leave you with is this: that the books are open on Rosh Hashanah. They're closed on Atonement. So Revelation 7 talks about the 144,000 are sealed. I believe at this time that's when they're going to be sealed, those 10 days. All right. I don't know who they are. I know that there's 12,000 from each tribe. Good or bad, they are being sealed during that time of the books being opened. So the books are opened. They're sealed during that time, and when the books are closed, that's it. So you have the books opening on Rosh Hashanah, and the books are closed on Atonement. So my thought and prayer for all of you is be ready, watchful, and love your brothers and sisters. Bless those that curse you. Don't curse them. They have their reward already. So God bless you. Hope to see you again. And there you go. God bless.